Chapter 1 of Aunt Jane's Nieces and Uncle John. This is a LibriVox recording. All LibriVox recordings are in the public domain. For more information or to volunteer, please visit LibriVox.org. Recording by Lynne Thompson. Aunt Jane's Nieces and Uncle John by L. Frank Baum. Chapter 1. Introducing Mumbles. Major Gregory Doyle paced nervously up and down the floor of the cosy sitting-room. "Something's surely to happen to our Patsy," he exclaimed. A little man with a calm face and a bald head, who was seated near the fire, continued to read his newspaper and paid no attention to the outburst. "Something has happened to Patsy," repeated the major. Patsy meaning his own and only daughter, Patricia. "Something is always happening to everyone," said the little man, turning his paper indifferently. "Something is happening to me, for I can't find the rest of this article. Something is happening to you, for you're losing your temper." "I'm not, sir. I deny it." "As for Patsy," continued the other, "she is 16 years old and knows New York like a book. The girl is safe enough." "Then where is she? Tell me that, sir. Here it is 7 o'clock, dark as pitch and raining hard, and Patsy is never out after 6. Can you, John Merrick, sit there like a lump of putty and do nothing, when your niece and my own darling Patsy is lost, or strayed, or stolen?" "What would you propose doing?" asked Uncle John, looking up with a smile. "We ought to get out the police department. It's raining and cold, and then we ought to get out the fire department. Call Mary to put one more coal, and let's have it warm and cheerful when Patsy comes in." "But, sir—" "The trouble with you, Major, is that dinner is half an hour late. One can imagine all sorts of horrible things on an empty stomach. Now then." He paused, for a pass key rattled in the hall door, and a moment later Patsy Doyle, rosy and animated, fresh from the cold and wet outside, smilingly greeted them. She had an umbrella, but her cloak was dripping with moisture, and in its ample folds was something huddled and bundled up like a baby, which she carefully protected. "So then," exclaimed the major, coming forward for a kiss, "you're back at last, safe and sound. Whatever kept ye out to this time of night, Patsy darlin'?" he added, letting the brogue creep into his tone, as he did when stirred by any emotion. Uncle John started to take off her wet cloak. "Look out!" cried Patsy. "You'll disturb Mumbles." The two men looked at her bundle curiously. "Who's Mumbles?" asked one. "What on earth is Mumbles?" inquired the other. The bundle squirmed and wriggled. Patsy sat down on the floor and carefully unwound the folds of the cloak. A tiny dog, black and shaggy, put his head out, blinked sleepily at the lights, pulled his fat, shapeless body away from the bandages, and trotted solemnly over to the fireplace. He didn't travel straight ahead, as dogs ought to walk, but cornerwise, as Patsy described it, and when he got to the hearth he rolled himself into a ball, lay down, and went to sleep. During this performance a tense silence had pervaded the room. The major looked at the dog rather gloomily, Uncle John with critical eyes that held a smile in them, Patsy with ecstatic delight. "Isn't he a dear?" she exclaimed. "It occurs to me," said the major stiffly, "that this needs an explanation. Do you mean to say, Patsy Doyle, that you've worried the hearts out of us this past hour, and kept the dinner waiting, all because of a scurvy bit of an animal?" "Pshaw!" said Uncle John. "Speak for yourself, Major. I wasn't worried a bit." "You see," explained Patsy, rising to take off her things and put them away, "I was coming home early when I first met Mumbles. A little boy had him, with a string tied around his neck, and when Mumbles tried to run up to me the boy jerked him back cruelly, and afterward kicked him. That made me mad." "Of course," said Uncle John, nodding wisely. "I cuffed the boy, and he said he'd take it out on Mumbles as soon as I'd gone away. I didn't like that. I offered to buy the dog, but the boy didn't dare sell him. He said it belonged to his father, who'd kill him and kick up a row besides if he didn't bring Mumbles home. So I found out where they lived, and as it wasn't far away I went home with him." "Crazy Patsy," smiled Uncle John. "And the dinner waiting!" groaned the major reproachfully. "Well, I had a time, you can believe," continued Patsy with animation. "The man was a big brute and half drunk. He grabbed up the little doggie and threw it into a box, and then told me to go home and mind my business." "Which of course you refused to do." "Of course. I'd made up my mind to have that dog."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?